Tomorrow morning, you're going to get in your car. You'll click your seatbelt without thinking. You'll glance at a dashboard covered in warning lights that exist to protect you. Airbags packed into your steering wheel. Sensors watching your blind spot. A frame engineered to crumple perfectly around your body in a crash. Every inch of that machine was designed with one goal: keep you alive. But the real answer is far stranger. The safer your car becomes, the more dangerous you become. Not the car. You and the engineers who built the safest vehicles in history knew this would happen. They built them anyway. Here's the moment that started it all. In 1975, an economist at the University of Chicago named Sam Peltzman sat down with decades of traffic data. Seatbelt laws had passed. Padded dashboards were mandatory. Collapsible steering columns were standard. Cars were, by every engineering measure, dramatically safer than they'd been a decade earlier. So traffic deaths should have dropped sharply. Did they? They didn't. Overall, fatality rates barely moved. Deaths among pedestrians and cyclists actually went up. Peltzman published his findings, and the result now carries his name: the Peltzman effect. His theory was simple and unsettling. When you feel safer, you drive differently. You brake later. You follow closer. You take the corner faster. Your body doesn't know the difference between a car that's actually safe and a car that just feels safe. It only knows the feeling, and it recalibrates your risk around that feeling, in real time, without asking permission. Think about the last time you drove with a full tank of gas, new tires, and a car you trusted completely. Did you drive the same way you would in a rental with a check engine light on? Be honest, most people don't. The machine changes. So the driver changes. That's risk compensation. And it's been quietly rewriting the outcome of a century of safety engineering. Now go back further. Long before Peltzman had the data, the men designing these machines were wrestling with a different problem entirely. How do you protect a human body from physics? In the early 1950s, a Mercedes-Benz engineer named Béla Barényi patented something radical. Instead of building a car as rigid as possible, he designed it to fail on purpose. A soft, collapsible front and rear structure that absorbed impact energy, wrapped around a rigid, protected cabin in the middle. He called it the Crumple zone. It sounds obvious now. In 1952, it was heresy. Engineers had spent decades trying to make cars stronger. Barényi wanted them to bend in exactly the right places, at exactly the right moment. His design first appeared in the Mercedes-Benz W111 in 1959, and it worked exactly as intended. Occupant survival rates in frontal collisions improved dramatically. But something else happened too. Something Barényi couldn't have fully predicted. Drivers in crumple zone cars began to feel invincible. The mangled front end that once meant a fatal crash now meant walking away. So the margin engineers built for survival became a margin some drivers spent on speed instead. That same year, on the other side of Europe, a Volvo engineer named Nils Bohlin was solving a different piece of the puzzle. Existing seatbelts only crossed a lap, and in a serious crash they could cause as much internal injury as they prevented. Bohlin designed the three-point belt, the diagonal strap across the chest combined with the lap belt, distributing crash force across the strongest parts of the human skeleton. Volvo did something almost unheard of. They gave the patent away for free. Every manufacturer could use it. Every driver on Earth could benefit. It is, by most estimates, one of the single most life-saving inventions in automotive history. And yet, studies conducted decades later by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety found something that echoes Peltzman almost exactly. Drivers who felt maximally protected, belted in, airbags armed, crumple zones engineered around them, consistently underestimated how fast they were actually going. Speed doesn't feel like speed anymore. It feels like control. That's the twist nobody saw coming when Barényi and Bohlin were sketching their designs by hand. So, which is it? Are safety engineers making cars safer, or are they making drivers more reckless? Here's the counterintuitive part. It's both, at the exact same time, and neither cancels the other out. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration tracks this every year. Cars today survive crashes that would have been fatal in 1970. Structural integrity, airbag technology, electronic stability control. None of that is in question. But NHTSA's own data on speeding-related fatalities has stayed stubbornly high for decades, even as vehicles improved. The machine got better at protecting the body inside it. The mind inside that body got worse at respecting the danger outside it. Two curves moving in opposite directions, canceling each other out almost perfectly. That's not a coincidence. That's homeostasis. Your brain has a risk thermostat, and no matter how much engineering you throw at the vehicle, that thermostat quietly resets itself back to the same setting. There's a name some psychologists use for this: risk homeostasis theory, built on Peltzman's original economic model but expanded into human behavior more broadly. The idea is that every person carries an internal, mostly unconscious, target level of risk they're comfortable with. Make the environment safer, and rather than banking that safety as a bonus, the brain spends it. Better brakes mean later braking. Better tires mean faster cornering. A car with automatic emergency braking means a driver checks their phone at the red light 1 extra second longer than they used to. None of this makes the engineers wrong. Barényi's Crumple zones and Bohlin's seatbelt have saved, conservatively, hundreds of thousands of lives since they were introduced. That's not in dispute. What's in dispute is the assumption underneath almost all automotive safety design for the last 70 years. The idea that a safer car automatically produces a safer driver. It doesn't. It produces a differently calibrated driver, one who has quietly renegotiated the terms of the risk in a language the engineers never accounted for. So why does this matter to you? Specifically, tomorrow morning, because the same recalibration is happening again right now, faster than ever, with technology far more persuasive than a crumple zone, adaptive cruise control, automatic lane keeping, forward collision warnings that brake for you before you even register the danger. Every one of these systems is designed, correctly, to reduce the physical consequences of a mistake. And every one of them is also quietly teaching your nervous system that mistakes cost less than they used to, which means, statistically, you will make more of them. Not because you're careless, because your risk thermostat is doing exactly what Sam Peltzman described half a century ago, just with better software. This is the part most people never notice. It isn't the car that decides how dangerous your drive will be. It's the gap between how safe the car actually is and how safe it feels. Widen that gap, and you widen the space where risk quietly moves back in, dressed up as confidence. Engineers can close the gap in steel and sensors. They cannot close it in your head. Only you can do that, and only by noticing it's there at all. Tomorrow morning, you're going to get in your car. Click the belt Nils Bohlin gave away for free. Trust a frame Béla Barényi designed to bend so you wouldn't have to. Feel, for a fraction of a second, completely safe. That feeling is real. It's also the most dangerous part of the entire machine, because your car isn't trying to kill you. It's trying to protect you so well that you stop protecting yourself. And it's working.